Hello children, how are you all? Hope you all are doing well. Welcome to Electronic Chemistry Center. This is VKM and welcome to Alcohols, Phenols, Ether session. Right? How is everything going on, guys? We are discussing alcohols, phenols, and ether session since 1 week. Almost it has come to an end. In the last class, we had discussed about very important reactions like Reimer-Tiemann reactions as well as Kolb's reaction, right, with their mechanisms we have discussed. Hope you remember, right? Hope you revised it also, right? It was yesterday's class, it was delayed due to network issues, right? So here onwards I'll be keep on posting the videos by 6 p.m. for class 12 students, and for class 11 students it is by 7:45 p.m. only. Is it clear, children? Let's move on to the session. In today's session, we will be going to talk about the ethers, children. Alcohols is done, phenols is done. Now we are going to talk about the last part of this chapter is ethers. Okay. So introduction part, if you observe it, that introduction part I'll give it rapidly. As you know, it is alkane RH, in which alkane, hydrogen is replaced by alkoxy group OR prime. It gives ether ROR. ROR is the functional group formula of the ether. So I can say these are alkoxy or aryl oxy derivatives of alkane, right? So if I take benzene C6H5H, so replace H with OAR, okay, with OAR, that gives you C6H5OAR, also known as AROAR. It is called aryl ether. It is called aryl ether or aromatic ether. Aryl ether or aromatic ether. So alkoxy are aryl oxy derivatives of alkane. So here these are alkoxy derivatives of alkane. These are aryl derivatives of the benzene also, you can say. IUPAC name is alkoxy alkane or aryl oxy alkane. Alkoxy, for suppose if two different alkyl groups are there, R and R prime, two different alkyl groups are there. In that alkoxy name goes with the smaller chain, alkane goes with the larger chain. Alkane goes with the larger chain. Hope you understand, children. So functional group of ether is, as you know, right, ROR. That is the best thing. That is the best formula. It can be represented in a best way like this also, COC or ROR. Simple example, CH3 OCH3. It is a simple ether. Or you can take C2H5 OC2H5. Most commonly used examples here. Formula C2H6O, formula C4H10O. Okay, is it clear for you? So general formula, if you observe it, instead of N, if I replace 2, 2 2s are 4, 4 plus 2 6 O, C2H6O, that is dimethyl ether. Similarly N is 4, 2 4s are 8, 8 plus 2 10, H10O, that is diethyl ether. Understood? So general formula I can take it as CnH2n plus 2O, or else I can take CnH2n plus 1 O CnH2n plus 1. On either side of oxygen, two alkyl groups are there now. Is it clear? So this formula CnH2n plus 2O, which is same as monohydric alcohols, therefore they are functional isomers. Alcohols and ethers are the best examples of the functional isomers, because both are having same molecular formula but different functional group is present, right? Alcohol and ether both are different functional groups, hence those are called functional isomers. Example, if you observe it, CH3 CH2OH, what is the formula? What is the dimethyl ethyl formula? Dimethyl ether formula C2H6O. Both are having same functional group. Both are having same molecular formula, but different functional groups are there. Hence, those are examples of functional isomers. Those are examples of functional isomers. So these these questions MCQs are very simple, basic questions. Ethers are derivatives of both alkoxy as well as aryl oxy derivatives of alkene. General representation of ether is, what is the general representation of ether? ROR. What is the general representation? ROR. Let's see the next question. Ethers are functional isomers of. Ethers are functional isomers of which alcohols? Monohydric alcohols. Alcohols which are having only one OH group. General formula of aliphatic ethers. General formula of aliphatic ethers is CnH2n plus 2O. CnH2n plus 2O. So if you observe the simple concept here, isomerism, about isomerism we have learnt even in class 11 also, right? So isomerism of ethers, we will discuss it. Before going into it, we will talk about classification. Ethers are classified into how many types? Two types. One is simple or symmetrical ethers. Second is mixed or unsymmetrical ethers. Simple or symmetrical ether means ROR. ROR. Mixed or unsymmetrical ether. Mixed or unsymmetrical ether. If you observe it. ROR. Observe it carefully. So in the first case, if you observe it, simple or symmetrical ethers, both the alkyl groups are same. But mixed or unsymmetrical ethers, both the alkyl groups are different. For suppose if two alkyl groups present on either side of the oxygen, if they are same, that is simple or symmetrical ether. If alkyl groups are different, and those are mixed or unsymmetrical ether. Those are mixed or unsymmetrical ether. Understood? Clear? They have given it. Once again, you can cross check it also. Both the alkyl groups which are attached to oxygen atom are same. Then simple or symmetrical. If they are different, then it is mixed or unsymmetrical ether. Okay? Formulas of dimethyl ether and ethyl methyl ether they have given. See here, it is methyl group, it is methyl group. Both alkyl groups are same, so simple or symmetrical. Here both alkyl groups are different, so mixed or unsymmetrical. Ethyl methyl ether. Now let's see the isomerism. So there are three types of isomerisms can be exhibited by ethers. One is chain isomerism, functional isomerism, metamerism. Chain isomerism in the sense different arrangement of the carbon chain. Compounds are having same molecular formula, but there is a difference in the length of the parent chain. Then such type of isomers are called chain isomers, and the phenomenon is known as chain isomerism. Let's talk about the examples here. If you observe the example here, see here methyl, and here how many carbons are there? 4 carbons are there, right? So here it is a 4 carbon chain. So now if you observe it here it is a 3 carbon chain. This also you can consider, this also you can consider. Okay, so it is 4 carbon chain and it is 3 carbon chain after oxygen, right? So there is a difference in the chain length, but both are having same molecular formula. Hence these type of isomers are called chain isomers. N-butyl methyl ether, isobutyl methyl ether, both are examples of chain isomers, and the phenomenon is known as chain isomerism. Understood? Similarly, functional isomerism. Functional isomerism means compounds are having same molecular formula. But different functional groups are present. If different functional groups are present, such type of isomers are called functional isomers, and the phenomenon is known as functional isomerism. Alcohols and ethers are examples of the functional isomers. One is ethanol and dimethyl ether. Both are having the same molecular formula, that is C2H6O. Is it clear? Next, let's talk about another example of metamerism. Metamerism is exhibited by ethers. What is metamerism? It is the isomerism exhibited among the two compounds of same functional group. Here also ether functional group, here also ether functional group is there. So the compounds which are having the same molecular formula, but if there is a difference in number of alkyl groups or a chain of alkyl group length, if alkyl groups are different on either sides of the functional group, if alkyl groups are different, such type of compounds are called metamers, and the phenomenon is known as metamerism. So it is ethyl, but here on either side of oxygen two ethyl groups are there, but here on either side of oxygen one methyl group is there and one propyl group is there. So on either sides of the functional group, if alkyl groups are different, such cases that those compounds are called metamers, and the phenomenon is known as metamerism. So here on either side of the ether functional group, that is oxygen, so here alkyl groups are different. Here ethyl is there, here ethyl is there, but here methyl and propyl is there. So it is diethyl ether ethoxyethane, it is methyl N propyl ether or 1-methoxypropane, right? Or else similarly here methyl is there, here isopropyl group is there. That's why isopropyl methyl ether. On either side of oxygen, alkyl groups are different. Such type of isomers are called as metamers, and the phenomenon is known as metamerism. Understood? So they gave the definition. See, metamers either chain or position isomers, you can say, with the same functional group but have different alkyl groups attached to oxygen atom. Have different alkyl groups. See, both are having the same molecular formula C4H10O, but here two ethyl groups are there, but here methyl and here propyl group is there. If alkyl groups are different, such type of isomers are called metamers, and the phenomenon is known as metamerism. Hope you understand, children. Is it clear for you? Right? Let's solve some simple questions. C2H5OCH3 is an example of, it is one alkyl group, it is another alkyl group. Both the alkyl groups are different. So mixed ether as well as unsymmetrical ether, both B and C are correct. Next, these two are examples of, here ether functional group you can see, here alcohol functional group you can see. So both these are examples of functional isomers. Next, ethers having same molecular formula but different alkyl groups on either side of oxygen atom, called as obviously metamers, and the phenomenon is known as metamerism. Ethers in which both the alkyl groups attached to oxygen are same, then those are called simple ethers as well as symmetrical ethers. Simple ethers as well as symmetrical ethers, both A and C are correct. See, this nomenclature also we have discussed in alcohols at the starting of alcohols part. There also once again you can go through it, and here I will be giving a few more examples. Common name you can guess it, and you can guess the IUPAC name also. As I told you, IUPAC name of ethers is alkoxyalkane. On both sides alkyl groups are same. That's why it is methoxy. Alkoxy means methoxymethane. Common name is dimethyl ether. Similarly, if you check it, common name is ethyl methyl ether. IUPAC name is methoxyethane. This side ethyl alkyl group is there, this side methyl. Don't write methyl ethyl ether, it is ethyl methyl ether. E comes first as per alphabetical order. As per alphabetical order, E comes first, hence it should be written as ethyl methyl ether but not methyl ethyl ether. Hope you understand it. Similarly, when it comes to IUPAC name, it can be named as generally alkoxyalkane. methoxyethane, right? As I told you, smaller chain of alkyl group should be named as alkoxy, whereas larger chain should be named as alkane. Hence it is methoxyethane but not ethoxymethane. Did you understand the difference? Third example. On either side of oxygen, alkyl groups are same. It is C2H5, it is C2H5. So diethyl ether, alkoxy, that is ethoxyethane. On either side alkyl groups are same. So for any group you can give alkoxy and for any group you can give alkane. That doesn't make any difference. So ethoxyethane is the correct answer. Take one more example. What is the common name? This side we have methyl, this side we have propyl. So methyl N propyl ether. And alkoxy alkane, if you number it 1, 2, 3. At first position we have methoxy. So 1 methoxy propane, right? This should be considered as parent chain. In parent chain 3 carbons are there, hence it should be taken as propane. At first position we have methoxy, so 1 methoxy propane. Common name, if you just check it, this group is isopropyl, hence it is isopropyl methyl ether. Isopropyl methyl ether. So if you just number it 1, 2, 3. At second position we have methoxy, so 2 methoxy propane. 2 methoxy propane should be taken. Common name you can check it as well as IUPAC name. This whole group is called tert butyl, T butyl. Other side we have methyl. So tert butyl methyl ether. What it is called? Tert butyl methyl ether. And IUPAC name, at second position we have methoxy as well as methyl, right? So we will write 2 methoxy 2 methyl propane. 2 methoxy 2 methyl propane. Aromatic ether, it is the most commonly used aromatic ether, children, and the formula is C6H5OCH3. And this group is methoxy and this is benzene, and IUPAC name is methoxybenzene, commonly known as anisole. Commonly known as anisole. It is an example of aromatic ether and it is methyl phenyl ether. This is methyl and it is phenyl. Hence it can be named as methyl phenyl ether. Hope you understand, children. Similarly, we have another one, that is ethoxybenzene. This is ethoxy, it is benzene. Ethoxybenzene and the common name ethyl phenyl ether. It is ethyl and it is phenyl ether. Commonly also known as phenitol. Phenitol. It is C6H5OC2H5. C6H5OC2H5. This is commonly known as a phenitol. Understood? Let's solve MCQs. IUPAC name of ether in general. In general, what is IUPAC name? Alkoxy alkane. What is the IUPAC name of this compound? Right? First of all, as you know, this is a alkoxy, smaller chain. This you have to number it 1, 2, 3. This we have discussed. Right? You can answer it. At second position we have methoxy, 2 methoxy 2 methyl propane, or tert butyl methyl ether. Tert butyl methyl ether. Hope you understand, children. Is it clear for you? So what is the name of this compound? Phenyl ethoxy, ethyl benzoxy, ethoxybenzene. This group is ethoxy. C2H5O is called ethoxy, no? This ring is benzene. So ethoxybenzene, which is commonly known as phenitol. Commonly known as phenitol. Right? So this is all about introduction, nomenclature, classification of ethers. Let's talk about physical properties, which are very simple. Physical properties, if you observe it, children. So ethers, boiling points, when we consider, boiling points of ether are slightly higher than that of alkanes but much lower than that of alcohols. much lower than that of alcohols. If you give the comparison, alcohols having higher boiling point compared to ethers, and ethers are having higher boiling point than alkanes. This is the order should be given of almost comparable molar masses. Molar masses must be almost similar. In such cases, alcohols will have higher boiling points because of the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding with water. Due to hydrogen bonding, association will be stronger. Once, okay, whenever association is stronger, it forms a stronger bonds. It is difficult to break it, hence it requires higher energy. So boiling point will be higher for alcohols compared to ethers and compared to alcohols, alkanes of same masses or molar masses, you can say. And here ethers are immiscible with water, generally very less miscible with water, but they can form hydrogen bond. They can form hydrogen bond, but not readily, not easily, because if you observe it, this is ether and with water, it can form intermolecular hydrogen bonding, but can they form this intermolecular hydrogen bonding readily or rapidly? No, not like alcohols, because here alkyl groups are present. These alkyl groups are bulky groups, can cause steric endurance. Because of these bulky alkyl groups, oxygen cannot involve in the hydrogen bonding formation with hydrogen of water molecule easily. Easily it cannot form because of this bulky alkyl groups. Hence, solubility is less. So sometimes we can consider it as immiscible with water. Immiscible with water. Hope you understand that. Is it clear? Now dipole moment for the diethyl ether is 1.18 D. So generally polar but less polar. Polar compounds only but less polar compared to alcohols. Some ethers are volatile and highly inflammable. Generally volatile ethers are highly inflammable, right? They can catch the fire. So uses of diethers, if you observe it, it can be used as a refrigerant, used in the solvent, as you know, for the in the reaction of Grignard reagents. RMgX, if you observe it, Rx plus Mg in the presence of ether, you can get RMgX. Used as industrial solvent for oils as well as fats, right? These are the major uses, you can say. These are the major uses. A mixture of diethyl ether and ethyl alcohol is known as natellite. It is known as natellite, which can be used as a fuel and can be used as a substitute for the petrol. Mixture of diethyl ether and ethyl alcohol is known as natellite, can be used as a substitute for the petrol. So used as a fuel. See, observe it. In a zoomer mode, if you observe it, this type of compound is looking so weird. You have never, okay, come across through these type of structures, right? Did you come across these type of structures so far? Imagine what it could be. It is also ether. It is also ether, but what type of ethers those are? These are called crown ethers. These are called crown ethers. These are called crown ethers. So the crown ether name is 18 crown 6. What is the name? 18 crown 6. I'll explain what is that 18 and 6. How do you actually understand the structure of the crown ethers? How do you name them? How do you name them? Generally crown ethers are named as N crown N. It can be named as N crown N. These are large molecules, macroscopic polyethers, and consisting of large rings of carbon and oxygen atoms. N crown M is the name where N is the total number of atoms. Total how many atoms are there? And M is the number of oxygen atoms. Only oxygen atoms are there. Only oxygen atoms we should consider it for M. N stands for number of carbon as well as oxygen atoms. Right? Let's observe it. This is the crown ether they have given it. So The crown ether name is 18, cron 6, where 6 represents for number of oxygen atoms that they have labeled here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fine. 18 means all atoms. There are how many carbon atoms? How many carbon atoms? This is 1. You can take it, okay, total number of only carbons in the sense, see this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 carbon atoms are there and 6 oxygen atoms are there. Total how many atoms then? 18 atoms. So total number of atoms are 18, total number of oxygen atoms are 6, and the name of this cron ether is 18 cron 6. Generally, based on nomenclature, they might ask the questions in the competitive exams. That's why naming you have to remember. Understood? Clear? 6 indicates the number of oxygens, 18 indicates the number of atoms including carbon. Very simple. Boiling point of ethers is lower than that of alcohol. Why? Because less polar and they cannot form hydrogen bond easily as that of alcohol. Those ethers which are dash in nature are highly inflammable. To be highly inflammable, ethers must be volatile. Then only those are considered as highly inflammable liquids. Natalite is a substitute for the petrol. It can be used as a fuel. It is diethyl ether and ethyl alcohol. It's a mixture of diethyl ether and ethyl alcohol. The first crown ether which was synthesized was 18 cron 6. 18 cron 6 by Pedersen, right? Those are the MCQs what we have. Now we will be talking about preparation methods. We will be talking about preparation methods as well as properties. Maximum I'll try to complete the ether session by today itself. Why? Because ethers is a small topic. See, ethers is a small topic, so we can finish it by today. That's not a big deal. Clear? So far we have done introduction, classification, nomenclature, and about cron ethers also we have done. Is that clear? So we need to talk about preparation. So once again I am reminding you children, so we are almost going to complete the ethers part also. Of course we will discuss and we will go with the practice session. That's not a big deal. But how much extent you are revising is very, very important. If you did not revise, there is no point of so listening the classes. Though you listen in the sense you won't get it immediately. And to just to remember it for the longer time, after completion of the class you have to revise and practice the questions and practice the MCQs also and revise descriptive questions also you have to learn. So much is pending, right? So how much extent you are doing it, that is very, very important. Is that clear for you? Please make notes while you are listening. At least make short notes. And if you are still having doubt, and then rewatch the video, and then correct that short notes wherever you have done the mistakes. Like that, if you observe it for 2 to 3 times, you will get a better idea what I am discussing. Clear? And whenever you are watching the video, please watch it till the end. Don't miss it or don't skip it. Don't skip it. Please watch it till the end. Understood? Let's talk about preparation methods of ethers. See, under preparation methods of ethers, one thing I would like to discuss here, dehydration of alcohols. I think so lecture number 6 we have discussed. In lecture number 6 we have discussed dehydration of alcohols with concentrated sulfuric acid at 140 degrees Celsius. It will undergo intermolecular dehydration. It gives diethyl ether. But whereas with concentrated sulfuric acid at 170 degrees Celsius, it give alkene. It give alkene. Understood the difference? Right? With concentrated sulfuric acid at 140 degrees Celsius, it gives diethyl ether. With concentrated sulfuric acid at 170 degrees Celsius, it gives alkene, that is ethane. This preparation method already we had discussed in the previous lectures. I am not going to talk about it. The most important preparation method we have Williamson synthesis. Very important for the board exams for 2 marks. For PU it is very important for 2 marks as well as for CBSE. Right? Williamson ether synthesis, where we have learned in alloalkanes alloarene chapter. Hope you remember the reaction. Alkyl halide reacts with sodium alkoxide. Alkyl halide reacts with sodium alkoxide, ROR plus NaX. ROR is nothing but ether. But here certain conditions. What is the condition? This alkyl halide must be primary. Alkyl halide must be primary. If it is primary, then it is very easy to give the ether, and it will give the ether in good yield. And this Williamson ether synthesis follows SN2 mechanism. SN2 mechanism. So it is favorable for the primary alkyl halide. Sir, what will happen if it is tertiary alkyl halide? If it is tertiary alkyl halide, obviously what will happen? Preferably undergo elimination. There is always a competition between elimination versus substitution, as you know. So factors influencing elimination as well as factors influencing substitution also we have discussed in the previous chapter. So when nature of substrate, that is tertiary alkyl halide, if I take it, the tertiary alkyl halide preferably undergo elimination, it gives alkene instead of ether. Right? It won't undergo substitution. Why? Because our alkoxide is not only nucleophile, it is a strong base also. It is a strong base. So strong base always makes the substrate to undergo elimination. That's why elimination competes the substitution. So whenever if the substrate is tertiary alkyl halide, elimination dominates over substitution, and it will give alkene. Understood? So these are the points majorly you should understand whenever we talk about Williamson ether synthesis. Understood? Let's talk about the general reaction and the examples also they have given. Check it. I have taken RONA as CH3ONA, RX as CH3I, NaI can be removed, and you will get dimethyl ether. Dimethyl ether. Check it. Please take the screenshot or pause the video or take the screenshot. Okay, this is very important reaction. I have just taken general reaction as well as example. Understood? I will be changing the substrates now. Sorry. I am taking another example. RONA plus RX. Here R is CH3, X is iodine. R is here C2H5, sodium ethoxide plus iodomethane. NaI can be removed. What it will give? Ethyl methyl ether. It will give ethyl methyl ether. Sir, can't we prepare aromatic ethers by Williamson ether synthesis? Why not? We can. We can prepare aromatic ether also. Phenol, weak acid or acid treated with NaOH. If it is treated with NaOH, it removes water and forms sodium phenoxide, and then treated with CH3I, and then it is NaI can be removed. It will give you C6H5OCH3, commonly known as anisole or methyl phenyl ether. So it is an example of aromatic ether. So we can prepare even aromatic ether also. So what is the general reaction? You can write it RONA plus RX. NaX can be removed. It gives you ROR. It is called Williamson's ether synthesis. It undergoes SN2 mechanism. Is it clear? Right? Very simple, children. Now what is the limitation? As I have already mentioned, substrate that is alkyl halide must be primary. Alkyl halide must be primary, as I told you in the previous slides. Alkyl halide must be primary. For suppose if alkyl halide is tertiary, preferably undergo elimination. I have taken this tertiary butyl bromide with the sodium ethoxide. Here it can act as a base, then it will undergo elimination, forms an alkene, that is isobutylene. Understood? It forms isobutylene plus NABR plus C2H5OH can be formed as byproducts. So that's why only primary alkyl halide is used in this method, because secondary and tertiary alkyl halide gives alkene on elimination. It is a drawback or limitation of Williamson's ether synthesis. Understood? So substrate alkyl halide should be taken as primary but not as secondary or tertiary. Understood the point? Right? So which alkyl halide should be taken, children? Which alkyl halide should be taken? Post it in the live chat. Which alkyl halide should be taken? Only primary alkyl halide should be taken, but not secondary, but not tertiary. Why? Secondary and tertiary may undergo elimination. Why? Because our sodium ethoxide can play dual role. Can play dual role. So it can not only act as a nucleophile and also act as a base. Understood? So now these preparation methods are not from the NCERT. These are for competitive. From alcohol and diazomethane. From alcohol and diazomethane. Right? So diazomethane, what is the formula? CH2N2. Alcohol is ROH. ROH plus CH2N2. In the presence of hydrofluoroboric acid, it gives ether and liberates nitrogen gas. Right? Methanol plus diazomethane. Or instead of ROH, I have taken methanol. Diazomethane formula CH2N2, hydrofluoroboric acid, and then it will give dimethyl ether. CH3O, CH3, nitrogen gas can be liberated. Understood? Similarly, you can take here C2H5OH plus CH2N2. In the presence of hydrofluoroboric acid, it will give ethyl methyl ether. But if you want to prepare diethyl ether, it is not possible. Why? Because we are taking diazomethane only. Right? Diazomethane, what will happen? This is CH2. That CH2 can be inserted. Right? CH2 can be inserted over there. That is the limitation. Only methyl ethers are obtained by this method. Diethyl ether can't be prepared by this method. Understood? So this you know. How many of you remember this? How many of you remember this? Say yes. How many of you remember this? Say yes in the live chat. See, in alkyl halides we have told if it is moist Ag2O, it gives alcohol with alkyl halides. But if it is a dry silver oxide, it gives dimethyl ether with bromomethane plus 2 AgBr. 2 moles of bromomethane with dry silver oxide gives dimethyl ether plus AgBr can be formed as a precipitate. Understood? Let's solve some simple MCQs. Methyl iodide CH3I treated with sodium ethoxide NaOC2H5. NaI can be removed. What it will give? Ethyl methyl ether. Which reaction it is? Williamson's ether synthesis. Yeah, in Williamson synthesis only which alkyl halide should be used? I have told you so many times which alkyl halide should be used, children. Primary alkyl halide should be used. Okay. Only which ethers are obtained from alcohols and diazomethane? Which ethers can be obtained? Methyl ethers can be obtained. That's all. Bromomethane CH3Br on treatment with dry Ag2O, not moist. dry Ag2O, what it will give? Ether. Which ether it will form? Dimethyl ether. Which ether it will form? Dimethyl ether. 2 moles plus here 2 moles of AgBr can be formed as a PPT. PPT means precipitate, not PowerPoint. Okay. So far we have done preparation methods, introduction, classification, nomenclature, physical properties are also done. Is it clear for you children? Everyone? Now we are going to talk about chemical properties. These are somehow simple. That's the reason, okay, I am explaining the whole ethers chapter in one class. Very simple it is. And most important topic of ethers is chemical properties of ethers. It is the most important topic, children, especially reaction with HI. Reaction with HI. Reaction with HI is a very important topic for NEET or JEE Main. Very important topic for NEET or JEE Main. So with HI there are two reactions. One is cold HI, another one is hot HI. Cold HI means dilute. Hot HI in the sense concentrated. Understood? Right? So now our ethers are reacting with cold HI. Our ethers are reacting with cold HI at less temperature, then it forms. See, dimethyl ether reacts with HI. What it will form? You can break this. Actually, it is a reaction involving breaking of CO bond. Reactions involving breaking of CO bond. This bond or this bond, if you break it, you will get here H, here you will get I. So methanol plus CH3I. Understood? How HI can be dissociated? H plus and I minus. Understood? So it gives methanol plus iodomethane. Methanol plus iodomethane. Similarly, we have ethyl methyl ether. Ethyl methyl ether. So I can break this bond. I can add H here, I can add I here. So it will give you C2H5OH, ethanol plus iodomethane. Ethanol plus iodomethane. Understood? Now I am taking isopropyl methyl ether. Isopropyl methyl ether. If I take, this is isopropyl group and it is methyl group. This group is methyl. Treat it with HI. It gives, break this bond, here add H, here add I. It gives propan 2-ol and iodomethane. Understood? So far I have taken only alkyl groups which are primary as well as secondary. Now I am taking alkyl groups of tertiary. So this is an alkyl group tertiary. Now our ether is consisting of tertiary alkyl group. Tertiary alkyl group. I am elaborating it. Yes or no? Earlier, which bond we have broken? This bond we have broken. No. Right? Earlier we have broken this bond. Here, that is not the case. Now, in this case, we have to broken this bond. Why? If you break this bond, it develops a positive charge. Develops positive charge means which carbocation? Tertiary carbocation. It forms a tertiary carbocation that is the most stable carbocation. So that's the reason we have to break this bond. It forms, so our H plus and I minus is there. It is O minus, right? So H plus will attack here. It gives CH3OH and I minus will attack at C plus. It will give you CH3 thrice Ci, tertiary butyl iodide. So it will not give you tert butyl alcohol, as this reaction involves the formation of carbocation intermediate. So tertiary carbocation is more stable than secondary or primary. That's the reason it will give tertiary butyl iodide but not tertiary butyl alcohol. Understood? Is it clear for you? Now similarly, if you observe another very important point here, observe it carefully. I took anisole. Possibilities I am explaining. Plus Hi, cold Hi. See, there are two possibilities. This is aryl, this is oxygen. This is alkyl, it is oxygen. Two bonds are there. This is, I am labeling it as, observe it carefully. Everyone please listen carefully here. This bond is aryl oxygen bond. Hope you are following, everyone. And this bond is alkyl oxygen bond. Will you agree? So possibilities, if you check it, children, we have to break one bond, no? If I break this bond, or let us assume, if I break that bond, if clause to be mentioned, and then it is O minus anyway, okay, it is plus anyway, and then what I'll get it, I plus CH3OH. One possibility, right? Another possibility, this one. If I break that bond, I will get OH plus CH3I. Will you agree? Yes or no? These are the two possibilities, possibility number 1, possibility number 2. My question here it is, which possibility is correct? First possibility or second possibility? Which possibility is correct, I am asking you. So do we need to break aryl oxygen bond or alkyl oxygen bond? I am asking you. Post it in the live chat. Do I need to break ARO bond or RO bond? Okay, so second possibility is correct or first possibility is correct? Let's talk about the answer. So first possibility is wrong. Second possibility is correct. It is not possible or not so easy to so it's not so easy to break the aryl oxygen bond. Aryl oxygen bond. Sometimes okay, tongue is twisting because I think so I am having more non-veg. Okay, so it is difficult to break the aryl oxygen bond. Aryl oxygen bond. Why? Oxygen is having lone pair. This lone pair will be involved in resonance with the benzene ring. Yes or no, if I polarize the bond in this way. And it forms a double bond. Forms a double bond. So it acquires a partial double bond character. Compared to single bond, double bond is stronger. Double bond is stronger. It is difficult to break it. So aryl oxygen is oxygen bond as a partial double bond character. It has a partial double bond character. Due to that, it is difficult to break. It is difficult to break, hence we need to break alkyl oxygen bond but not aryl oxygen bond. Understood? That's the reason you will get phenol plus CH3I but not iodobenzene and methanol. Understood? It's a very, very important point. Is it clear for you? Everyone? Is it clear for you? Right? So now let's see the mechanism. Let's see the mechanism, children. Observe it carefully. First we have taken ether ROR prime plus HX. Hydrogen iodide. Okay, reactivity order. If you consider reactivity order HI greater than HBr greater than HCl greater than HF. Hydrogen iodide is more reactive than HBr than HCl than HF. So HX can be dissociated as H plus and X minus. This H is getting positive charge, lone pair will be given to H plus. It forms dialkyl oxonium ion. It forms a dialkyl oxonium ion by leaving X minus. Now oxygen is developing positive charge. So obviously oxygen is becoming electron deficient. Has become electron deficient. So our X minus is there, so generous like me. It donates the electron density to the lower alkyl group. Out of R and R prime, whichever is whichever is lower alkyl group, so X minus donates the electron density to the R. Why? Because this oxygen takes the electron from the R, from the carbon. So it is carbon, no? Observe it is carbon. It takes the electron from carbon. So now carbon is seeking electron. So our allied ion is generous. It gives the electron density to the carbon. So if I polarize this bond, then what will happen? I am breaking this bond. ROH can be removed out. ROH is out. Now what we have? RX is there. Alkyl halide is there. Alkyl halide is there. Understood? Now observe it carefully. For suppose if alkyl group is tertiary, then tertiary alkyl halide is formed. Of course, alkyl group is tertiary, in such case tertiary alkyl halide is formed. X minus attacks onto the tertiary alkyl group only. Generally X minus supposed to attack onto the lower alkyl group, but whenever tertiary alkyl group is there, X minus attack onto the tertiary alkyl group only. Is it clear? Because it forms tertiary carbocation, no? Tertiary carbocation is more stable. Is it clear for you? That mechanism, is it clear? I repeat, very simple, ROR, HX, polarize the bond, it forms dialkyl oxonium ion, and then our X minus is waiting, takes electron density from here, so it forms RX plus ROH. If I take R prime OH. That's all. Very simple mechanism. We got Rx plus ROH. Now what I mean to say, X minus attacks onto the lower alkyl group. Here R and R prime is there, no? Out of R and R prime, whichever is the lower bulky alkyl group, X minus attacks onto that lower bulky alkyl group, right? But only in case exception is whenever this alkyl group is tertiary butyl alkyl group, though it is bulky, but X minus will attack onto that bulky alkyl group only in case of tertiary, because tertiary carbocation will be formed, tertiary carbocation is more stable, hence it can attack. Understood? Is it clear for you? Right? Hope it is clear. We got Rx plus R prime OH. But what will happen next? If you use excess of HX, actually you have added another mole, right? So you won't sit, you won't sit calm, or you won't sit quietly in the lab. Then what you will do? You will be adding another mole of the HX. Then this HX, it will react with R prime OH. Then what will happen? Just observe it. With the mechanism they have given it. Simply if I write it, R prime OH has been formed, react with excess, means what will happen? HOH can be removed, R prime X. Water molecule has been removed, that is what I got it. Observe it. Understood? Is it clear for you? So ROH, this is formed here, plus HX, X minus can be removed, lone pair is given to H, it forms oxonium ion, right? As a next step, what will happen? This bond we have to polarize it. See, and then X minus will attack onto the R prime. So it gives R prime X plus H2. Is it clear for you? Yes or no? Everyone tell me yes or no. Please post it in the live chat. I am erasing it. Right? Now, so it is with cold HI. I am writing a brief summary in a nutshell how you write the reaction. So that is R, what I have taken, plus HX. It will give you Rx plus ROH. Now if I use another mole of HX, what it forms? Rx plus H2. Means ROR plus 2 moles of HX, or they will give you in such a way, HX is in excess. Then what you will write the direct reaction? You will get 2 moles of Rx, no? 2 Rx plus H2. Why? Because alcohol formed in this reaction also react with HX, no? This is a general reaction can be written. It is for excess. If it is for less, this is the reaction. If you write it, it is enough. Understood the point? Very, very important reaction, children. Once again, cross check it. Cross check it. Once again, cross check it. Understood? For suppose if I take hot HI, if I take a hot HI, right? So far we are discussed the reactions with cold HI. Now what we are taking with hot HI? Hot HI is nothing but simply excess. Concentration is more. Then what will happen? Right? Directly it forms 2 moles of alkyl iodide or alkyl halide, sorry. So just now we have discussed, no, ROR plus HI, if it is hot, what it will give? 2 moles of Ri plus H2. See, CH3OCH3 plus HI, 2 moles of CH3I plus H2. CH3OC2H5, methyl iodide plus ethyl iodide plus water with 2 moles of HI at 373 Kelvin. Understood? Is it clear for you? This is with hot HI. Cold HI, HI cold, it gives you ROH plus RI. ROR, hot, Ri plus H2. How many moles? 2 moles of Ri. Did you understand the difference? If you understand, please say yes. Everyone. Clear? They have taken one more example. Isopropyl methyl ether. It will give you isopropyl iodide, methyl iodide plus water, ROR, with 2 moles of HI. No? Now if you understand, tell me. It is ether treated with HI, hot HI. This is the way of asking question. Obviously, it will give 2 moles of methyl iodide. 2 moles of methyl iodide. Next, children, cold HI. Cold HI means what will happen? It will give you HI. Understood? CH3I as well as C2H5. Hope it is clear. Everyone, is it clear for you? Right? Let's talk about last reactions of ethers. Those are aromatic electrophilic substitution reactions. SEAR. Electrophilic substitution reactions of ethers. Before going into it, you need to understand that it is attached to OR, no? This OR group is electron releasing group. It gives the electron density to the benzene ring. So it activates all ortho and para positions. So OR, that is nothing but alkoxy group. That alkoxy group is an example of electron releasing group. Hence, it is an example of ortho para directing group. So it allows the incoming electrophile to attack at ortho and para positions. Understood? It allows the incoming electrophile to attack at ortho and para position. If I take OCH3, this is methoxy. It is a best example of plus M and minus I effect causing group. Mesomeric effect dominates, hence it can act as ERG. Right? So all ERGs are ortho para directing groups. In all of these reactions, you will get which products? Ortho and para products. Which products you will get it? Ortho and para products. Understood? Now, let's see those reactions, right? This is simple hydrolysis reactions which are not required for us. We are going to talk about electrophilic substitution reactions. First one, what we are going to talk about? Halogenation. What we are going to talk about? Halogenation, right? So, halogenation reaction, bromine in the presence of acetic acid. Bromine in the presence of acetic acid. Organic solvent, if I take it, then you will get monosubstituted products. One is orthobromoanisole. It is aromatic with anisole. It gives you orthobromoanisole, parabromoanisole. As you know, parabromoanisole is major because here both the bulky groups are adjacent and it causes steric entrance and product becomes unstable. Hence, orthobromoanisole is minor and parabromoanisole is major. whenever anisole is treated with bromine and acetic acid, it gives two products. One is orthobromoanisole and second one is parabromoanisole. Next we have Friedel-Crafts reaction. There are two types of Friedel-Crafts reaction. One is alkylation and another one is acylation, as you know, right? So alkylation and acylation reactions, if you observe with children, anisole whenever it reacts with methyl chloride, alkyl halide, in the presence of anhydrous AlCl3, that is Lewis acid, right? It gives 2-methoxytoluene as a minor product as well as 4-methoxytoluene as a major product, right? So it is para-methoxytoluene, it is orthomethoxytoluene. Is that clear for you? It is called Friedel-Crafts alkylation reaction. Similarly, if you take acylation, next acylation, what you will take it, children? In the presence of acid chloride. In the presence of acid chloride, so it is very important for PU for 2 marks for board exams. Anisole react with acetyl or acid chloride. In the presence of anhydrous AlCl3, it gives 2-methoxyacetophenone, that is a minor product, and 4-methoxyacetophenone, that is a major product. Understood? Acetophenone means C6H5COCH3. At 4th position it has methoxy substituent. Here at 2nd position it has methoxy substituent. So hence it is 2-methoxyacetophenone. It is 4-methoxyacetophenone, considered as major. It is considered as a minor. Understood? Next reaction what we have? Nitration. NO2 plus is the electrophile. NO2 plus is the electrophile. Whenever anisole reacts with mixture of concentrated nitric acid plus concentrated sulfuric acid, this is called nitration mixture, right? It gives you two products, 2-nitroanisole and 4-nitroanisole. 4-nitroanisole is major, 2-nitroanisole is a minor product. Remember these names carefully, children. These names are important from these electrophilic substitution reactions of ethers. Clear? Let's solve some simple MCQs. Anisole when treated with bromine and acetic acid, that is bromination, what will give? Ortho as well as para. Similarly, it is Friedel-Crafts acylation. It gives both A and C, 2-methoxyacetophenone as well as 4-methoxyacetophenone. Anisole when it is heated with acetyl chloride, that is CH3COCl, it gives 2 as well as 4-methoxyacetophenone. So this is all about APE chapter, alcohol, phenol, ether. Understood? So if any extra part is pending, I'll discuss it, which is required for the competitive, don't worry, right? So as well as we will solve some questions also. First of all, we will solve questions from total NCERT, including organic conversions. You should be thorough with the NCERT first. Then we will go for some extra part and we will conduct some practice sessions. By that we will complete the alcohols, phenol, ether session. Hope it is clear. Hope you like the video. If you like it, please click on the like button. If you have any doubts, please post in the comment box. Don't hesitate to ask the doubts. You can post in the comment box or else you can mail me. I'll be responding you. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. If you have already subscribed, please click on the bell icon to get the further notifications and videos. Until then, bye bye. Take care. Signing off.